His Hyperactive tour continues in Colchester this September, so please welcome, less musical than Miles, but far funnier than Harry. He's the main Kane,
Well,
Russell Kane.
Sure, he's out on the third one, to be honest.
Yeah, you're wrong there. I was laughing at the telly.
Yeah, hi Russell, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good.
Okay, so speak on behalf of all Kanes at the moment here in the UK, specifically England.
Well, I'd like to represent Sir Michael Kane, who I thought was cruelly left out of
He's
that
spelled
roundup.
differently, mate. Come on, you're
Listen,
spelled like
It's
Sir Harry
2024.
himself.
Homonyms deserve the respect.
Have you done the, who do you think you are? Do you and Harry, would your paths cross, do you think?
No, because my real surname is some unpronounceable, weirdly spelt foreign thing.
I didn't know
which
that.
I changed to be accepted, which I should probably change back and then do a Channel 5 documentary crying about the origin of my name. Think of the work.
Right, so why'd you go for Kane?
I literally, with me and my girlfriend at the time, I wrote down a load of names that flowed with Russell, and I said, pick one.
Really?
If only I'd known there were two other Russells doing comedy, I would have changed my flipping first name as well, because now it's one of the Russells. We get muddled together.
Michael Caine, didn't he? I think it was a similar story why he picked Kane.
Yeah.
No, it's about The Stage, wasn't it? The Stage magazine. So his name was Maurice Micklewhite. And then I can't remember.
Maurice Micklewhite sounds like an offender of some kind. That's probably why he changed it.
Well, he was, or unless there was maybe that was it. Maybe there's a Maurice Micklewhite already in The Stage.
Possibly.
As an actor, and you had to change it.
But Lee Mack told me K's are funny. And I mean, if Lee Mack says it's true,
So Lee Mack's, that's not Lee's real name either.
No.
I didn't know that.
It's
I
McKillop.
don't know any of this.
McKillop.
How do I know Lee's favourite car, but I don't know that his name was made up?
Yeah.
Don't understand.
Anyway, so no, not related. Although I do kick a ball.
Thank you for getting me back on script. Sorry.
I do
Just
kick a
having
ball in a similar way to Harry. I can't.
Do you play football?
I don't. I'm
Have you
awful.
got a take on the Euros?
I'm so bad at football. Gareth will probably call me later in the week.
Yeah. What have you got to say about the football? Did you watch the game? Have you
football,
watched the game?
as you'll find most stand-ups, although they pretend to support England, they are cheering Denmark and Slovenia for two reasons. Number one, it kills sales if you put a last-minute gig on, and number two, all the people are watching the flipping football on their phones when you're on stage.
No,
so the better England do, the harder my life
awful.
gets. Yeah,
Is that why?
Because the harder my life gets, and then I've got this coming home outside the theatre and people weeing in the streets. I don't need that when I'm on the road.
You don't need that
So
at all.
it basically turns me Scottish or Slovenian or Danish.
Oh, that's terrible. Please don't do that if you go and see, especially a comedy gig. It's different when there's music playing, you can be tapping along, you can be doing stuff. You're sort of a bit passive at a music gig. You can be very as involved or not involved as you like. Nobody really minds on stage. They've got these massive speakers. They've got loads of instruments. They've got a lot of noise going on.
Exactly.
Maybe they're not on form that night. It doesn't really matter. Maybe they're not going to meet you on the Golden Bridge of Entertainment. But a comedian, different story.
Or you got empty seats. I mean,
empty seats.
It was an England semi-final once, sold out 1,000 seats. There's about 300 people just thought...
But you got the money.
Yeah,
You got the cash.
Yeah, just laughing at my money.
Yeah. More Maldives. More Maldives.
There's a £50 note laughing in the front row.
Yeah. Why go on holiday in the Maldives when you can buy it? Yeah. So you like the Maldives. You've been a few times, but hang on. Here's my question. You've been a few times, but you find it a bit dull. It's like me in Wimbledon. I find Wimbledon extremely dull, but I still like it. The two are not mutually exclusive.
I'm weirdly good at switching off and doing nothing. I think because when I'm working, I'm in 3 cities today.
Your tour's called Hyperactive.
Yeah, I'm writing a book. I'm always doing something that I'm strangely good at. Stack of books, white sand, doing nothing. Wherever it is, it can be Ibiza, Menorca, south of Spain, even down on the Dorset coast, it makes no difference. I'm just a switch-off merchant. You wouldn't believe it, but I am.
You had me at stack of books.
Yeah.
Oh, I love a stack of books, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
I love a stack of books.
That's most of my hand luggage is taken up with like 5 books that I'll dip in and out of.
Let's talk about your hand luggage. Because I know about you and your hand luggage, Russell Kane. Because you used to work here, didn't you?
I did, yes.
You did a show with Angela Scanlon.
Yeah, when it was first switching over into its new life.
Its new iteration.
And then I'm mocked because I'm a prepper. So in my bag at any one time, particularly if I come from home, you'll find a cold bag, ice packs, boiled eggs. I've got a self-pressing cafetiere mug, my own coffee.
This is the AeroPress. Everybody's raving about the AeroPress.
Yes, but the cafetiere mug, because often you turn up to record, sorry, there's no time to get coffee, cannot affect me. I have a travel kettle. I put it in.
You do not?
I do, and I can drink out of my self-pressing mug. I didn't today, obviously, because I've heard you're such a wonderful host.
Yeah. By the way, the team are all frappuccinoed up. They're buzzing. They're white. They were were dog-tired when they arrived this morning, but they've had the Frappuccino. There's a Frappuccino. If I owned an international coffee franchise, it's not actually called a Frappuccino, is it? It's called something else. It's called the what? I haven't got my headphones on. Sorry. It's called
we have to call it a King Cappuccino now. It's politically correct.
a King Cappuccino. Because I was going to say, I would come up... Frappuccino, you've got to call it a Frappuccino or an E-Cappuccino. Just like, eek! Because it's so like... Because you lot are wired now. You've had the Java thing from Starbucks, which I really want, but I can't have. A, because I'm fasting. B, because I'm scared of all that sugar. And I'm not like 12 like you are. I'm 112. But you've got all that going on. But I would definitely call it something an E-Cappuccino. They said my team used to work with you when you were working here. They said it wasn't a bag. It wasn't a bag you brought in, Russell Kane.
It's a full suitcase.
It was a full suitcase. You were never knowingly seen without a suitcase.
And today I've got a suitcase with me. And then I was overnight last night.
like
I'm overnight
Paddington.
tonight. I know. Well, I'm never 2, 3, 4 nights a week. I sleep away. I mean, that's part of the job.
This is so you've always been good to go. You've always had a suitcase in hand. Mm-hmm. That's the way you roll.
You've got to, as a stand-up. Listen, as a stand-up comedian, you can't control if someone's watching the football on their phone, if someone's had a bad day.
The football's really got to you.
You control the controllables, the technical, the personal, and then the funny, the magic takes place on the
listen,
night.
you'll be all right tonight and tomorrow because there's no match. There's no matches.
All right.
Yours are off till Saturday.
Yeah, but I've lost a load of friends who are like, I can't come out. I'm watching like Poland versus Macedonia. It's like, come on, man. We've not seen each other for 2 years. Watch the England, Scotland, Ireland game.
No, don't watch those ones. They're the ones you don't watch.
Don't stay in to watch Liechtenstein versus Brunei or something.
You want to entice your friends out for a drink. 5 o'clock Sunday afternoon, they'll be banged up for it because England are playing again.
Yeah.
Or not playing again, or whatever they're doing again.
I just don't miss topless It's Coming Home renditions outside the window,
Yeah, no, I get you all the time. All the way rather. And so you're on your way to Glasgow. There's a couple of corporate gigs in between now and the weekend.
Correct.
Right. So corporate gigs.
Yep.
Right. And I was going to say festival gigs, but I know you're going to Glastonbury to take part in Professor Brian Cox's show.
Yeah, Infinite Monkey Cage.
Tell us about that. You've been on that before.
Yeah.
It is a great programme.
So yeah, Brian Cox, the one who sounds like that, not the Scottish one who swears all the time.
Yeah.
They take a subject, him and Robin Ince, who's a very brainy comedian, very clever guy. It could be dolphins, it could be human bodies, locomotive skills, 2 subjects I've done.
It's brilliant.
And then I'm like the idiot in the corner, and then there'll be a professor on, and we just discuss that subject in a funny, but also it gets quite deep and you learn a lot as well. So it's funny but full of knowledge.
And they take that on tour, don't they? They arena tour that show.
Around the world.
Do they actually?
Yeah, they play Australia.
That's why Brian's gone quiet on the telly, because he's just having so much fun. Because he was in a band, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He was in D-Ream back in the day.
And then things got better.
And then he clearly hankered after being not only in front of the camera but on stage. And I suppose in a way his professorial lane has taken him where he wanted to go, but via a different means.
Yeah, and he's an extremely intelligent guy. Sometimes you'll say something silly and then he'll go off on one right into the universe of knowledge of a silly thing that you've said. But I love that mix of the high and the low. I'm from Essex, aren't I?
It's so interesting.
I'll go straight from the National Gallery to having it in Ibiza 2 days later.
Yeah.
That's my whole life. I've got 2 Ibizas in this summer.
So you're going the reverse way as far as flow of energy is concerned, because if you look at all the sort of the Disraelis and the Darwins and all that lot from the 1850s, they became famous via science, and that was the way they were the rock stars of their days, and that's why operating theatres are called theatres, because they were tiered and you could buy a ticket to watch somebody operating in a theatre.
I've done the warm up and taken a kidney out as for a 20-minute warm up act.
But what you see now is Professor Noel Fitzpatrick was an actor. Now he really is a professor.
He's a vet guy.
Yeah.
I've done a corporate for him.
Yeah, so
I did his birthday party.
Yeah, for his vet fest
That's right.
in Isha.
Yeah.
And so Noel was an actor. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Became a professor, and then the last thing he did was an arena tour of his life story. On Sunday, just gone, he played in a band at the Isle of Wight Festival.
Crazy.
Yeah, and so then you get Professor Brian Cox, who was in a band, who now is going on these kind of rock and roll
I
tours.
wonder if they high-five each other on the way past with surgical gloves on.
I don't know, but you get there in the end. That's my point.
Yeah.
They get to where they want to in the end just by a different route.
I just love trying lots of different things. I mean, I write, I perform. Stand-up comedy was never on the cards for me.
Interesting.
I'm not a theatre school. I grew up in a council. My postcode, no one does anything. It's tiling, roofing, prison, electronic tag, community service. They're your options, boy. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
And Of course, my dad's a manual labourer, shaven-headed, triple ripple of meat, bouncer, steroid-taking, meat-eating nutter.
Good lad.
And he's got me, copying dances off the telly. Move to Brighton, get it over with. He didn't know what to do with me.
Move to Brighton, get it over with.
I probably would have done something with dance. I absolutely adore dancing.
Did you move to Brighton? I don't know that about you.
No, I didn't. I moved to Southend, which is the acceptable alternative.
Coastal.
So,
Is that on the way to Brighton? Are you on the way
not
to Brighton?
really. The Southend's out
I
to
didn't
the
mean
east.
geographically. I meant psychologically.
No, I don't. I think it's quite the opposite, actually. It's more on the way to Clacton. And,
I don't know what that means, but I like it.
Clacton versus Brighton is very much where our country is without...
Is it actually?
Probably, without talking about something we probably shouldn't talk about.
We're not allowed to.
But they're great metaphors for it. But yeah, I probably would have done dancing. I love dancing. I can copy any dance move.
You're very dancey.
I was raised to believe that's not what men do. So I got all the way to 25, 26 in an office job, which I did love before I thought, well, maybe I can be on stage. Let's see what happens if I just try a stand-up gig one night.
Let's go there. First time on stage.
I was working in an office environment. It's not dissimilar to this, except we were doing advertising. There was no broadcast element. And my friend,
it was live, it was creative.
Yeah, you're so funny. I was the copywriter. You're so funny. Try stand-up. It was something I knew nothing about. Stand-up to me was Roy Chubby Brown, Jim Davison, Bernard Manning, Laurel and Hardy. What my dad watched. I was like, that's got nothing to do with me. I want to write stories, maybe, if I do anything creative. And so all the middle class people, come on, man. There's only so much hummus we can eat. Let's go out. And we went out to comedy, and I watched that. I thought, that's just someone telling stories that are as funny or less funny than mine. Yeah. So I just Googled stand-up, Googled London, phoned the first club from the first Google link. Was like, how does it work? They were like, you come in and do it unpaid for 5 minutes. So I went and did it. I mean, I must have eaten a box of Imodium before I went on. It was that complicated, the reaction it had on my body. I always thought that phrase was a figure of speech.
Which one?
Pooing yourself.
Yeah.
It isn't.
Oh, no, it's a real thing.
It's a real thing. And I went on. And that first laugh... When I was growing up, there was these adverts to stop children taking drugs saying, the first time you'll like it, you won't like it, you'll be sick, but you'll come back for more and it'll ruin your life. That's what stand-up did. I was sick the first time. Within 6 months, my creative director was like, you're going to get sacked. My relationship was failing. My finances were failing.
All good fodder, though.
I lost a stone in weight. Yeah. It was like a drug. It destroyed my life until I had to just go, I've got to go for it and try and earn out of it because I can't stop doing it. Or did it destroy
your life? Did it dissemble what you weren't and told you what you were?
Possibly, yeah. Possibly.
That could have been it, couldn't it?
Yeah, I found what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, the whole sort of number two, involuntary number two, I don't get that when I'm frightened. I get that when I'm excited. I literally, if an idea gives, my whole body, is a literal whole body, It's there's so much excitement, something needs to make room for it.
Yeah, date nights must be interesting.
I'm with you.
As long as you've got a rubber sheet now.
I'm with you all the way. Yeah, well, I'm of an age. Can't remember.
I suppose so. Yeah. Date day.
Time machine required. Date day. Date day. Date minute.
Once you finish that Werther's, it's upstairs for you, my love.
Yeah, jeez. Word search with your Werther's. So you got corporates as well. So you got Glastonbury tomorrow, you got something at lunchtime, and you got corporates. Right, corporates. Yes. Corporates and comedians, people who haven't paid to come and see you, who aren't necessarily invested in what you're about to do, who aren't necessarily haven't set themselves up for the week, for the day, for the afternoon, for the evening, for the commute to your gig to laugh. That you have a coil spring, don't you? You still got to do the work. Don't get me wrong. But you have a coil spring when a paying audience comes to see you. They want to laugh because they like you already. Right, corporate gigs. Discuss.
Yes, but the corporate gig is a more difficult version of the Royal Variety Show or another show where the audience...
Great way of describing
the audience, if we were to go and do the Royal Variety tomorrow, yes, the audience are expecting people to do stuff on stage, but they are not your audience. They are not there for you. They could be there for Harry Styles or Dua Lipa or whoever's on at the end. In fact, that is what happened to me when I did the Royal Variety.
Who was on?
Harry Styles poked his head out and did a cheeky wave at the audience. Like, he's about to come on. They went, now Russell Kane. And I had to go out to a blank curtain and do it. And a corporate is an even more difficult version of that because you're getting in the way of their dinner, their award ceremony. Why do I love them? Why do I eat up, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Alison, more than any at my agency? It's like putting weights in the boxing gloves. It's like loading the bar up.
Yeah.
Every show, I know you'll agree with this, is a challenge to be solved.
Oh, right.
So if we were to set this show up right now with 2 speakers in Euston Station, be tragic for about 10 minutes, then our creative juices would get a crowd around us. We're like, how can we solve this environment?
Yes.
That's why I love them. Yes, they're well remunerated.
I'm in.
But I love the challenge of them.
I love this.
If you can go on to some builders and plasterers like, oh, not him, I didn't like him on Radio 1. It's not Nick Grimshaw, Dave. Well, who is it then? And I can go on. If I can go and smash that,
How good was that?
the next time I go on stage, it's like I've loaded an extra 40 kilos on the bar at my regular gigs.
Love it. There are solutions and there are absolutions.
Yeah.
And you are an absolute absolution and you love it.
Yeah, I do. I'm addicted to stand.
There's growth in there.
I'm addicted. So, because I'm writing a book at the moment. Everyone said, wouldn't that be a nice future for you just writing books? And I'm like, not really. I want to Ken Dodd it with a flask of Horlicks and drop down when I'm 90 at the moment.
Make everybody late for the train home.
I'm as enthusiastic as I was when I started for now.
Yeah.
Never say never.
Well, with such genuine passion and commitment, almost involuntary it seems from how you're saying it. Not what you're saying, from how you're saying it. The world would, I imagine, be your oyster. So do you travel? Are you USA? Do they know about Russell Kane?
That's the only place I haven't played.
Right, come on, tell us, why not? Sorry, I didn't mean that conversation.
It's very expensive to get going over there. You're looking at the 5 figures to even get the licenses you need to enter the country. And B, I'm not interested at the moment in like living in America. And this is going to sound like such a humble brag, but if you've asked me the question, so I'll give you the honest answer. I've got a phobia of being successful in America and having to move there because you would just get drawn in. Whereas the other countries that I play, Canada, Australia, I've just done Bermuda.
Bermuda?
I did Just for Laughs Bermuda. I've just played Singapore this year.
Canada,
I played
obviously.
Dubai, Oman. I had all these gigs on this year. The comedy comes first and the film and telly comes second. Whereas in America, it's the other way around.
But because you are anti it in a way, then that would be almost like a golden ticket, not to success necessarily, but to having a good chance of achieving success. How old are you, Russell?
48.
Are you? You're 48?
Listen, if you want to ask me about my other business, which is an anti-aging biohacking...
48?
I've got no Botox, no filler.
That is incredible.
Okay,
you are officially the youngest looking 48-year-old that's ever been in the studio. By the way, that's a very high bar.
Yeah, I'm a biohacker. So about 15 years ago, I started to get tired on stage because I started my career so late and I've got like a Lee Evans... type act, Lee Evans on Red Bull type act. I was starting to put weight on my belly, all the normal stuff that happens when you're 32, 33, 34. And I was like, how can I slow down biological aging? So I started learning about it. And over the years, I've built up this regime, which my wife has now turned into a business. And I'm keeping my cellular age at about 33, 34.
Can you give us a few headlines there on what the kind of stuff you're doing?
Once you understand what aging is, it's like understanding what one of the horrible big diseases are. No one's saying that cancer isn't a mountain, but at least we know what the mountain is. Aging is a disease with symptoms. And once you know how to treat it, every day you wake up, you've got to manufacture new cells. Right. Yeah? You've got to manufacture millions of new cells. If you can make that process more accurate and more quick, the way young people do, you'll make more accurate copies.
So David Sinclair, you know David Sinclair?
Of course.
Yeah, and
Worship Lifespan.
Peter Attia.
I love that book, Lifespan. And also the other part of aging is you've woken up today, all of us, the older you are, the more dead cells you need to get rid of, and the less efficient your body is in taking the bin bags out. Why? Because we're supposed to die at 40 after we've passed our genes on.
You should be doing this.
So
take this to America.
If you can maximise the throwing out of the old cells and the generating of the new, you can. Easily done. Diet and exercise, anyone can do. Even in a box room at a travel lodge, I will do this morning 30 minutes of star jumps without leaving the room. Diet, just don't eat 100% carbs or don't starve yourself for 2 days. Just eat a medium amount of some stuff. Most of the time, don't eat junk. End of diet plan, United Kingdom. And do that, and then you've got the evidence-based supplementation. NMN, November, Mike, November. NMN, transresveratrol, fisetin, curcumin, things like that. That's what I've been taking for 15 years. And all my mates were like, what a lot of nonsense, you snake or you idiot. And now they're all like, we can't go to Ibiza, we're too tired. I'm smashing 2 this summer. Believe it.
Whoa, mic drop. Can we just put that on Instagram? That what just happened there. That was amazing.
July the 23rd, me and my best mate Dan, who's my the business partner in the anti-aging business, we're going to Ibiza for 48 hours, doing an amnesia.
Oh, so you got a business?
Ibiza rocks, then home. Yeah, my wife.
I know I heard that bit, but you got a business with your partner.
No, there's the 3 of us together.
Oh, I like it.
But my wife just used me like the gerbil. I was doing this stuff without any commercial thing in my brain other than how can I be a better stand-up.
Do you drink?
I enjoy one or two beers in the
not
evening.
many, though.
Obviously, when I go to Ibiza, it's neat vodka in a pint glass, drink responsibly.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Apparently that's good for you. Yeah. That's the secret. That's the secret elixir. That's what nobody knows. Just straight vodka in a pint glass in Ibiza.
I've gone off.
Fine.
Also, I'm just so greedy for a good gig. If I go beyond 2 glasses of wine, I just wouldn't be the same this morning. I wouldn't be that. So I did. Yes, okay. I had 2 beers on the train last night. I'll admit that. But that adds up.
But you weren't driving it.
No. If
you were just sitting on it, weren't you?
Might have moved in, Avanti.
So is it? Look, you're 48, right?
50 when this tour finishes.
Didn't know that. I thought you were. I actually thought you were 28, 29. Ridiculous. Because I was going to say to you when America, believe it or not, came calling. In my career, I had the same thing. I didn't want to go then, but I did want to go at some point and do something. I got a big offer to do TV over there. Got a couple of big offers, and then I thought, no, love to, not yet. You are nearly 50, like you say. You'll be 50 when the tour finishes. Is that still on the horizon then? Is that still part of the plan or not?
I love stand-up and I love performing stand-up. I want to do more films. I'm shooting a small part in a British movie this summer. It's something I would like to explore, but my daughter's 8. And as a stand-up, you miss so much anyway. And the idea of, it's going to be 6 months and you'll be with Matt Damon, and it doesn't go to my ego. All I think is, I'll miss my babies, I'll miss my missus, I'll miss my stand-up. It's the same reason. I've got nothing against Strictly Come Dancing, and I love dancing. But would I do 12 weeks away from my daughter while she's this age? The answer is no. And I love dancing. I love it. And I love being on telly.
Have you been offered?
There's been initial conversations which I don't take any further because I don't really want to be grinding on a random Venezuelan lady for 12 weeks.
Yeah, and also you don't want to waste anybody's time in taking it to playing with it. And so have you had the I'm a Celeb offers in?
Yes,
all that
of course.
Stuff? It said no to those.
It's just I'm not a snob, and I never say never. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm showing off.
Something?
The diary's a little bit busy.
I don't think you should ever go on a show you don't watch.
Right.
Not ever, but I think, to go on something that you're a fan of is cool.
Naked Attraction it is then, see you there.
Yay! Let's do it. 2 for 1. I don't know. Is that the theme tune?
Yeah, it is.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
It's an upward reveal. So you start with the bottom half. Obviously, everything would be given away when it showed the feet, in my case.
Why do they go from the bottom up? You think they go from the top?
No, they don't. They reveal feet, knees, pelvis, and the face is last.
Hands and knees and boopsie daisy, that's the way it goes.
If the date works, that's how it finishes.
Yeah. So Hyperactive, it's been going on since when? When did you kick it off?
Well, this year, but I sort of started getting it prepared last year.
Right. So when did you do your first big?
Probably
date?
February. You're testing me now.
February, March, April. So we're 4 or 5 months in. What's killing it? Which bit?
Do you know what? I've done something different this time. Normally with stand-ups, everyone pays a £5. You're in a tiny room. There's notes on the floor. They're called previews, and then you go into the biggest rooms you can sell, which in my case is the sort of 1 to 4,000 threshold. I don't do arenas just purely because it doesn't suit my style. Again, it's nothing snobby. I just like to be able to hit the back row with my eyes without a monitor. But what I wanted to do this year was a whole leg, which I've just finished, of these 200 to 500 seaters because they're so amazing.
Yeah.
So it's not really a warm-up I've just done. So it's not the answer to your question is not material, it's spatial.
Ooh.
I like the rooms where I'm on a flat floor, the front row is at my level and it goes up in raked seating in a semicircle. Then it's not about is the bit about your nan the best or the bit about Brexit the funniest. It's about your relation to these
What do you say
people.
about Brexit and your nan?
They're not in there. That's why I used them as safe example.
Because Nan might have something to say about Brexit.
Oh, she would, yeah, probably, yeah.
Back to Clacton.
It's so Brexit. Just put a barbed wire around my own garden, independent republic of me.
Yeah.
My husband's half Italian. He can leave, and I'll just live on my own.
Good, excellent. So, are you stepping it up then? Are you going bigger? When does that happen? When
that starts in September.
Brilliant.
I've got a couple of slightly smaller ones. I'm doing 2 nights in Colchester, and then it's into the sort of the 1 to 4,000 rooms until December next year.
All right. Well, it's going very well, isn't it? So it's a couple of years in the end. russellkane.co.uk for tickets for Hyperactive. Continue on Tuesday, 10th September. Other jobs. Obviously, you started late, as you've said. You were in sales. You were a copywriter. What gives you a good bit of copy that you came up with?
The last job I worked on was launching Green and Black's chocolate.
Oh, come on. What was that?
You probably won't remember the strapline. It deserves a little respect.
Is that you?
It was me and Simon Callender that worked on that campaign, yeah.
I like the sound of Simon Callender.
Yeah, he's still in the business. And then the last thing I did was actually a drawn It was for a Lucasade brand where the bubbles spelt out the energy benefit. So when you went to the petrol pump, the petrol was spelt out in bubbles to show you the energy that Lucasade was providing. So that was my last two campaigns I did. But I worked on Vodafone, Carlsberg, did a lot of football with Carlsberg.
I love all that stuff.
I did Nestle, things like that.
There's a book called The Whipple Effect. Have you read that book about Whipple? The campaign for Whipple. It's an American.
No, but my favourite advertising book is a book called, and you will love this book.
Come on.
The Power of Ideas That Don't Make Sense.
Right.
And it's about, when you're having meetings, it could be about your radio show. Yeah. And that won't work. That might be.
We don't have
very often. Take Red Bull, for example.
Yes.
They run a trial. They gave 200 people Red Bull and they went, it's too expensive and it tastes of medicine. It's disgusting.
It's
so what do you think they did? They made it more expensive and made the taste stronger. Users then thought, it must be so strong and amazing to have this medicine take, and it's expensive because it's amazing. Bang, biggest energy brand on earth.
Double down.
Sometimes the ideas that don't make sense to such a degree that they fold back in on themselves and smash it. Radio production, stand-up can operate in the same way. Think in your career of the amount of ideas you've done where everyone's like, that won't work. Yeah. But it worked because it shouldn't work.
I call it punk.
Right, basically, yes.
Punk it up. Have some fun, punk it up. And just by saying punk it up, it excites the meeting a bit more.
Exactly.
It makes young people think, that's something to go for. Old people remember when they were fearless as opposed to having to be brave or frightened out of their wits. Punk it up.
Because if everyone's moving in the same way, you're going to be less originality.
Zig when they zag, zag when they zig.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's your old co-hosts.
Zig and zag, yeah, baby. Ross, it's great to see you, man. Is there anything else you'd like to get out there?
I'd love to put a shout out. I've written a children's book, non-fiction. Don't panic, everyone. No wizards or detectives. I was trying to explain to my daughter the personality of a ragdoll cat when we were about to get one, and I was changing it into a comedy sort of first person. Think of your lazy mate who just wants to break wind and lay on the rug. And I mentioned it to a friend of mine in publishing. They were like, turn that into a book.
Yeah.
Dog breed, cat breed guide for children aged 7 to 11. It's called Pet Select. And that's coming out on September the 5th. And it's a funny, obviously, book about buying your next pet or learning about pets. And I just had an absolute joy of reading it.
And also, your episode of Spooning with Mark Wogan drops today. Apparently, it was great. He loved you. He's just texted us now.
Has he?
Yeah, it's a great show.
He's a lovely bloke, isn't he?
He's so nice.
And I know it's a bit of a competitor station, but Evil Genius is returning as well. It's my big passion on Radio 4. Which is where we take people from history. It could be Winston Churchill, it could be Amy Winehouse. And then I have 3 comedians and I drop some fact bombs that no one knew. And at the end, they have to vote evil or genius, cancel or keep.
Love it.
Very timely,
Who was unexpectedly kept and unexpectedly cancelled? Who has been?
The Gandhi episode was probably the most controversial. I wish I could tell you why, but it's that controversial, even with clean language. I shouldn't.
So I'm presuming he was cancelled.
He got voted evil, and the row broke out in the studio, which continued in the lift and then into the Uber.
How much people want to go and listen to that episode?
I think it was Sindhu V shouting out of her window about context as a Uber drive dog.
So give us an unexpected keep then, because he was a cancel.
Well, I also made this one for TV, Pablo Escobar, because we do reverse episodes sometimes where we start from someone, i.e. a drug lord, who everyone thinks is evil, and I go, but did you know what he did with a lot of his money? He rebuilt Medellin, he started the universities. There are people from the working classes that have been lifted up because of his money. Was he a type of Robin Hood character? So he got an unexpected couple of votes for genius. In the end, he was evil because he was a murdering psychopathic drug dealer.
Yeah, that would do it for most people. Russell, we're going to go genius with Russell, yeah? Can we have a round of applause? A definite keep, not cancel. Russell Kane!
Thank you.
RussellKane.co.uk for tickets to go and see Russell. Anywhere you like, if you just wait long enough, he'll definitely be around where you live. Perfect. Thank you, Russell.
Virgin Radio.